Hello, and welcome to this roundup of Viscounts in historical romance books. I'm Olivia, your favorite resource for book recommendations you can easily screenshot. You're watching Random Olive Reads. The Perks of Loving a Viscount by Alexa Aston is book 2 of the Strongs of Shadowcrest series. Lady Philippa Strong is a duke's sister who would rather wear breeches and gallivant around her country home than become a sparkling debutante. She's not interested in becoming a wife and mother and property of a man, and would like to retain her independence. Although, when she meets the handsome new Viscount next door, she's starting to question her path a little bit. Seth is the son of the fourth son of a Viscount and never expected to inherit anything. After spending most of his life at sea, he is shocked to find he's suddenly the new Viscount after the death of his uncles and father. With no experience in being on land or the ways of polite society, he relies on his new neighbors for help, especially the help of Pippa to teach him how to ride a horse. As they spend more time together, Seth is sure that Pippa will make him an excellent wife, but he's careful not to scare her off with declarations too soon. An Affair with the Viscount by Sadie Bosk is book 5 of the Necessary Arrangement series. Most of this book takes place during the house party hosted at the end of the previous book, and we find Richard an overbearing Viscount who's interested in an affair with an actress, Josephine, even though he'll soon be betrothed to another proper young lady. Josephine rejects his advances at first, but finds herself attracted to him and wanting to give in. With her past experiences with not-so-worthy gentlemen, she's definitely wary and has a hard time trusting him. She is proven right when she finds out that Richard is betrothed, and he has a lot to overcome to try to win her back. We get some external drama here with Josephine's friend and another actor being forceful and vile, and Richard comes to the rescue in his overbearing ways, but it's always at just the right time. I liked seeing Richard soften over time and realize that he really can't live without Josephine, and then seeing the support of his family. The Viscount Who Lived Down the Lane by Elizabeth Boyle is book 4 of the Rhymes with Love series. Louisa and her twin Lavinia are in town for the season, and her cat runs into her grumpy neighbor's house. Pierce was wounded in the war, and now he's a super grumpy recluse and absolutely does not appreciate the meddlesome female in his house. It's a pretty simple and straightforward romance here with the grumpy sunshine dynamic, and this one has the fun little microtrope of the Viscount totally being able to tell the twin sisters apart. The Madness of Viscount Atherborn by Elisa Braden is book 1 of the Rescued from Ruin series. Lucian seeks revenge against the man who caused his sister suicide and also killed his brother in a duel, so he sets out to seduce and ruin that man's sister. He successfully compromises Victoria at a ball, proceeds to marry her, and then ban her from speaking to her brother ever again. Luckily, they find their own connection and romance despite all of these difficulties. When the Viscount Seduces by Darcy Burke is book 3 of the Rogue Rule series. Clumsy Gwen is pretty much a disaster on the marriage mart, but her brother's friend Lazarus rescues her after she falls and then asks her to dance. Gwen's mother is delighted that a Viscount is paying her attention, even if he has a reputation as a rogue. But he's decided that he needs tutoring on his reading and writing so he can deliver a speech in Parliament, and asks the bookish Gwen for help. In exchange, he'll pretend to pay her attention so that it'll rile up other suitors. Although they're opposites in terms of bookishness, they're quite infatuated with each other, and it was fun to see Lazarus focusing all his attention on Gwen. I also love when a gentleman appreciates their partner's intellect and seeks to support them more than anything. In Want of a Viscount by Lorraine Heath is book 3 of the Chessmen series. Lenora is an American inventor in England with her family seeking investors in her writing machine, although her crass, overbearing mother is seeking a titled husband for her instead. She sneaks off to a ladies' club and asks for a kiss. The club owner seems to be short-staffed in the gentleman escort department and asks his own titled brother Rook to see to the kissing. Rook and Lenora don't exchange names, but do exchange a kiss, leaving Lenora passed out from absinthe and Rook wondering what he did wrong. And of course, they cross paths later when Rook turns out to be a potential investor in the company. They flirt, they dance, they can't seem to stay away from each other, and Rook is the only man, aside from her father, who's ever appreciated Lenora's curiosity for machinery. However, Rook is not interested in marriage and basically a very controlled man who denies himself lustful indulgences due to his own father's scandalous behavior. These two are fairly slow to realize that they're perfect for each other, but it's fun read along the way. Once and Again with the Viscount by Andy James is book 3 of the Reluctant Lord series. Angeline is a widow who's slowly re entering society after mourning her beloved husband. She's been struggling with seeing her friends marry and have children, as she was unable to have any children of her own in the time that she was married. Meanwhile, her neighbor, childhood crush, and brother's best friend, Sydney, is around to notice her and offer comfort. Sydney has been in love with Angeline after he noticed her in a new light during her debut. However, he lost out on the chance to be with her when he left society when his father died and returned later to find her already married. Now that she's widowed, Sydney has a second chance to woo Angeline. There's actually tons of tragedy up ahead, though, as Sydney's older brother unexpectedly passes away, leaving Sydney the next Viscount. Angeline is even more distressed with her inability to have children because of this. There's a lot of angsty, emotional upheaval to get through before these two can find a happy ending. Viscount in Love by Eloisa James is book 1 of the Accidental Brides series. If you like stories with chaotic, outspoken children, this book is for you. Dominic is an emotionless and stern Viscount who has custody of his sister's orphaned twin children. Luckily, he's already engaged to a proper lady to help raise them, except that proper lady is appalled by the children and wants to send them away, and then she ends up jilting the groom anyway. Dominic ends up trying to convince Tori, his would-have-been sister-in-law, to marry him instead, since she's already developed a relationship with the children. Takes a lot of convincing to make it happen, despite the lust and attraction being apparent from the start. The falling in love part takes a bit longer on everyone's part, but it's super emotional once they figured it out. The family dynamic here is one of my favorite parts of this book. Fortune Favors the Viscount by Caroline Linden is book 4 of the Wagers of Sin series. Nick has been the owner of the infamous gambling hell featured throughout the series, and now he finds himself to be the heir apparent to a distantly related Viscount. Amelia is the governess of the late Viscount's daughter and conducted the investigation that led her to Nick. She aims to help him petition for the title in exchange for the upkeep and care of her charge. Nick is suspicious at first and also completely uninterested in claiming an aristocratic title, but he also wants to protect his secret sister, who's on the cusp of entering society. These two team up so that Amelia can serve as governess to both her charge and Nick's sister. Of course, as Nick and Amelia spend more time together, the heated bickering turns into something more. We also get some additional drama with a clear villain and a revenge scheme. When the Viscount Wanted Me by Lydia Lloyd is book 2 of the Rake Chronicle series. Henrietta is a beautiful and sought-after debutante who has a tryst with a man she believes to be her friend, but now is being pushy about marriage. Trem overhears the man lamenting over Henrietta's rejection and suspects that he's trying to ruin Henrietta's reputation. Being Henrietta's brother's best friend, Trem tries to resolve the issue by questioning the lady. Turns out the pushy guy's accusations were true, and now Trem sees Henrietta in a new and attractive light. They pretty quickly start their own affair and end up engaged in the process. Henrietta has had a long-standing crush on Trem and is pleased that he desires her in return, but she's keeping secrets about her parentage and worries about Trem's reaction. Revealing the Viscount by Lexi Post is book 3 of the Marrying a Mabry series. Mariel is the oldest Mabry sister whose beloved fiancé had died in the war and then married a much older man to restore her family's finances, and now she's a widow. She's just learned that her once fiancé is not dead after all and is forced to come out of hiding to become a Viscount after his brother's death. Marcus has indeed been hiding from Mariel, at first because he believed she betrayed him by getting married so soon after his supposed death, and then because he believed himself incapable of siring children after witnessing atrocities of war. When Mariel comes to confront Marcus over his deception, they both observe that the other person has changed from the person they knew all those years ago, but they ultimately agree to a fake betrothal to preserve Mariel's reputation and also to keep away all the debutantes coming after Marcus. As they spend more time together, it's clear they're both still in love, but they're very damaged from their separate experiences. They definitely needed to talk through all their issues and attempt to overcome them before being able to be together. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hopefully you found a book or two to add to your TBR. Links to all of these books are in the description box. Like and subscribe to get updates, and you can follow me on Instagram at randomolive.